We're just going to skip this top 3 at 3 because our main story today is, of course, weather conditions across the region here. Let's get to it here because these are the pictures on the big story today. Weather, heavy rain soaking the region, wet weather causing serious flash flooding in western Maryland. The water rising so quickly, taking so many by surprise. And you can see these are kids from Allegheny County schools who had to be put on boats and taken out from school, rescued. In a moment, we'll talk with Jen Delgado. She'll join us with a look at the damage. But as we see these pictures here, let's check in with our Kaylin Roth with the latest weather update. We talked about this yesterday, all this rain, how quickly things could change here.
Yeah, and that is the definition of flash flooding. I mean, within an hour of heavy rains, you know, all of a sudden, the water's rising too quickly. When you're in a valley like where they were in western Maryland, it can easily become a big problem. So luckily, the rain has stopped there and across much of the region. We still have a lot of flood warnings, but we don't have any rain on radar right now. Here's your flood watch. That's the light green color, which includes all of the Blue Ridge, and that is most of central and northern Virginia, western Maryland, the two hard-hit regions with the flash flooding yesterday, just north and west of Charlottesville, and then western Allegheny County into northern West Virginia as well. So these are flood warnings in this brighter green, and that does include portions of Mineral County, Allegheny County. We've got another one just west of Martinsburg along 81. And we could easily get more flood warnings if we get more storms that form later on this afternoon. So let's check radar right now. Most of the action is well to our south, although it is filling in. Again, this is Richmond, so you're looking south of Richmond, almost getting close into North Carolina. But these are some drenching thunderstorms moving northward. And the question is, how much can we get to develop or move northward here? We haven't seen much develop except for one little pocket over southern Maryland, and that's because they've had a little bit of clearing. We haven't seen much clearing locally, so we haven't seen many storms form on their own. We're going to kind of wait until everything fills in from the south. So zooming in, these are the showers that have kind of popped up in eastern Charles and northern St. Mary's County. Any of these showers could bring drenching rain, even if they're not bringing thunder and lightning like a traditional thunderstorm. Big picture, we still have a ways to go with this storm system, so we have ample opportunity for rain. Even if it's not raining in our flood-prone areas right now, it could be later tonight, it could be again tomorrow or Friday. And the thing is now, the ground is so saturated. We got nearly 2 inches of rain in D.C. and well over that where we had the flash flooding. So it's really could just take one storm and you're in trouble. Live look outside here in D.C. Overcast skies, 73 degrees, 70 at Dulles, 66 at BWI. We've seen very limited clearing, so nothing has happened just quite yet. I think we're waiting on what's down to the south, which will push northward over the next few hours. So probably by dinner time, we could have more storms around, and that could continue deep into the evening hours. That's 10, 11 o'clock. Looks like we get a break overnight. We did not have a break overnight last night. Parts of eastern Maryland really got hammered. But tomorrow does seem to provide a dry break for everybody. So whatever happens with the scattered showers and storms tonight, that will be more localized. What happens tomorrow is it looks like not much. I mean, you do see a few showers back out across the mountains by 6, 7 o'clock, but I think we're kind of in between systems. And so we'll reset on Friday. Here's your warm front coming in on Friday. That's at 7 a.m., by the way. That is a really heavy line of rain to kick off the day and for the morning commute. The question is, how much additional development will we get? Futurecast has more showers through the morning and thunderstorms in the afternoon. So I guess the takeaway here is it can be raining at any point, and anytime you do get rain or thunderstorms, it could be heavy, and this could lead to flooding concerns. The metro area has pretty much been okay, but it doesn't take much, as we learned yesterday. It really only takes a couple hours of heavy rain to start to get some problems. And when you look at the next 48 hours, this is future rainfall, it is painting in some hefty numbers here in D.C., over 2 inches. Look at Cumberland again, over 2 inches. Hagerstown, an inch. So that would be western Maryland getting nailed with more heavy rain. They need to be ready for that, which I think after going through what they did yesterday, they sure are. For tomorrow, that is, again, a bit of a dry break between tonight and Friday morning. So the two time zones we're really watching, tonight and then again Friday. A two-day planner shows tomorrow anything we get would be very isolated. Otherwise, we should actually get some sun, 80 degrees. And then Friday is just really warm and humid with temperatures in the upper 80s. But as you saw on Futurecast, we've got storms to deal with. Additionally, Saturday, a final chance of getting some storms around here, but then we should dry out for a while. I hope by Sunday it does look much better and a nicer start to next week. So we'll continue to watch those flood alerts. Again, western areas in a flood watch. Storms should start to move northward over the next couple of hours, and we'll be tracking them here on Fox 5 Marina, obviously, through the rest of the evening to see, if we have a flash flood warning, we'll be all over it.
We talked about this yesterday because we were saying we're still in these drought conditions, right? Like it's still not, the amount has not gotten there, but it's the rapidness of how this rain fell.
Yeah.
You've got a creek like the Georges Creek, you oversaturate it, and then it just runs downstream into a town like Westport, where these kids had to be rescued. We've seen it in Ellicott City, similar situations like this. They say it's like a 1 in 100 years type of situation. Where are we right now with, if we had another prolonged day of this type of rain, how saturated is the ground?
Well, it is very saturated at this point, but it's all about the intensity, so the rainfall rate, meaning if you get a couple inches in an hour, that's too much for the ground to handle, saturated or not. I mean, you could argue up in Western Maryland yesterday, they're still in drought conditions themselves, but it's the amount of rain in a short amount of time, and especially if you're in a flood-prone spot. They were in a valley in between the mountains in western Allegheny County. Ellicott City's the same thing. So there are more vulnerable spots than others, and when they get several inches of rain within a short period of time, it's a deluge, and the ground can't hold it. So it is unfortunately like the worst of the circumstances for them.
Horrific stories just out of Virginia. So clearly something that we've got to watch out for. Kaylin, thank you. We'll be checking back in at 4 o'clock to look at these conditions ahead. But let's get out to Allegheny County. Fox 5's Jennifer Delgado taking the trek out there. We know that a lot of the damage, and I'm looking just behind you here, Jen, the pictures, I mean, it happens so quickly, but then it dries out so quickly as well. It's almost like, how did this happen?
Yeah, that's very typical when we're talking about a flash flooding event. We're looking at some of these areas yesterday. They had rainfall rates between 1 and 2 inches an hour, and now you're looking at the results and the damage that's left behind. I'm going to step out of the way for you a bit more, but the crews are out here right now trying to get power back on and even trying to get gas back on. Now, you see the trees coming down. That is actually a stream there, and the rain came all the way upstream, and then it went downstream, and then eventually spilled out into the Georges Creek. And then the Georges Creek was swollen, and then that sends rainfall all across parts of Main Street. But right now we're looking at an area that's been essentially cut off from roadways. So just a few moments ago, they had police as well as fire crews going up there, bringing supplies to residents who can no longer drive out of there because their roadways have been washed away. So you're looking over here right now, and you see some of the crews there, and they're working hard trying to get the power lines on. But we have some video, and we want to show you what it looked like earlier this morning, where you could still see some areas with the high water. Now, what we know is many areas were damaged by this, but it's not just the town of Lonaconia that I'm in. We're talking about Barton, as well as over towards parts of westernmost. Now, joining me right now, we have Roger Bennett. And Roger Bennett, you're with the Allegheny County Department of Emergency Services, and you've been here for many years. This is one of the worst floodings that you've seen. Kind of describe to us and take us back in time what happened here yesterday and this morning.
Yeah, this is probably one of our worst since 1993 or 1996. But yesterday about 1 p.m., we had a front come through the area that put down about an inch of rain within the first hour, and then about a half an inch over the next probably 4 to 5 hours. We ended up evacuating 3 schools with water rescue teams. We removed residents from their homes that were trapped. We also had some fires, and we also had some traffic accidents that occurred.
I'm sure you got a lot of people calling. I mean, you probably were just flooded with 911 calls yesterday. People were panicked. Yeah,
we were probably 4 times the amount of 911 calls came in during that time. We were able to mobilize our water rescue assets along with the surrounding counties.
And I think we have some video, too, they're playing as well.
Yes, yes, you do, on that.
And then, when we look at this, and we know that people are cleaning up now, but, the race is on now because we already know you're into flood watch, and then we're looking at potentially now the rainfall rates between 2 to 3 inches in some problem spots. How do you prepare for another segue, another system coming through?
Well, our main thing is to rescue those who are stranded now and be prepared to go out and get those that did not allow us to rescue them or will need rescue because of additional water coming into the area.
Yeah, you know, that's the hard part because you guys may not be able to go back up there. Like you said, that roadway is gone, and we see some of the officials there, they dropped off supplies, but how many residents do you think are up there closer with that upstream area?
Yeah, we have 20 homes that are cut off. There's no road going in or out. You can only walk into the area. We're trying to convince those folks to come down out, but most of them just want to stay in place.
And we can certainly understand that, but we certainly know about the danger. John Finley, the photographer, maybe we can come over here and kind of show some of the mud over here. And you were saying to me, Roger, this whole area was basically just underwater.
Yes, when the stream swelled that feeds into Georges Creek, the water was up over top of this wall and down through this area, down onto Main Street.
Yeah, you know, when you live in a valley and you're surrounded by the mountains, this is something that happens. But even so, this is shocking for so many people. I mean, I think I even see some damage going into parts of that pool over there as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. And so, you know, looking ahead for tonight, what's your plan and what are you guys going to be doing now?
We have assessed all the homes at least once that could be in the areas of potential flooding again, and just be prepared to go back out for rescues.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sure those kids are happy to be safe right now. I'm sure it was a scary situation. But you also said you guys got a lot of response from D.C. everywhere.
Yeah, we had a lot of units come up when we put out the request. We had to turn units away, but we had enough resources here that we probably did over 400 evacuations / rescues.
All right. Well, hopefully you won't need any more anytime soon, but we already know the reality is that we're going to be staring down some more thunderstorms as we go later on this evening, very likely starting closer to that 7 o'clock hour. And again, we are so concerned about the rainfall rate, but again, we are out here right now in Lonacone. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I know you're very busy, but again, we'll be back up here at 4 and 5, and hopefully we're going to try to get closer as well to some of those schools that were cut off, but a lot of roadways are washed away right now. Marina.
Jen, incredible stuff. Thank you from that perspective. From the ground there, we're taking a break here on the DMV Zone. We'll be right back.